reboot this computer. All right, you guys. Hello. Good morning. For those that don't know me, I am Mikaela Wyatt. Yes, it says Cami Cruz, but I'm just on her Zoom. But today I want to talk about something that I just trained on for my Becoming Her Leaders Retreat. And as I was preparing this training and this retreat, I was thinking about what, oh, and if you guys aren't muted, just make sure you're muted because I will scroll a lot. What is it that I feel like is missing in the way that I
Help it
train,
is
the way
following and
that I talk to
put it in.
my leaders? You guys, if you're not muted, just make sure you're muted, please. Um, and it was identity.
Sorry, I muted you because I was muting everybody. I muted everybody for you. Sorry
You're
about
good.
that.
Thank you. No, you're good. It was identity work because I think that we get on these trainings and we hear all the same things in a different way, right? Booking, selling, recruiting, which are all the most important things. But if you have ever gone through any trauma in your past life in your life, right? Raise your hand if you've gone through trauma in your life in some kind of way, right? All of us in some way, shape or form, if you don't recognize it, we've all gone through trauma in our life. And when we go through trauma, for me, it was when I was young. My dad told me that the only thing that I would be good at is being a cheerleader. Whether he meant it in that type of way, that's how I took it into my relationships, into the way that I felt about myself, right? And I think that in business, we see all of these people who are successful and we might get to that stage and maybe you guys are super successful in your business, but there's blocks somewhere, right? And where does that stem from? It stems from those past traumas that we've gone through, whether it was when we were young, um, whether it was our caregivers, right? As children are resilient, right? They have no filters. And but somewhere along the line, those traumas started happening, whether it was relationships, whether it was our caregivers, like I said, and we start to get calloused, right? And so we take that into success, and that kind of alters our state of mind and how we perform sometimes. And so where does this go with this lesson and with business? I think that when we are calloused, we start to have these thoughts about ourselves. And the way that we can get out of those is by learning and by being on things like this, where the reason why my retreat was called Becoming Her is because what I did was I took all of the, pretty successful people in the business, not just nationals. It started from advanced directors and up, and I asked them specific questions as to how they got out of that block, how they started to really start seeing themselves, right? We have to peel off those layers of trauma and callous and things that we've gone through to be able to really shine and become the people that we want to be, right? So that's kind of what we're going to talk about in this presentation. And I hope that it's okay for you guys. And I'm gonna kind of try and race through this because it was an hour long training, but I condensed it. So hopefully it's 30 minutes. If you have to go, I totally understand. But I'm gonna try and zoom through it as fast as I can. But I do like to have participation. So I am going to be asking certain questions that you can drop in the chat. Okay, so becoming her. So level up your leadership. Your next level isn't found in doing more, it's found in becoming someone different, right? How do we become someone different when we have all of these past, traumas and thoughts about ourselves? Um, she didn't become her by accident. She became her by deciding she no longer wanted to stay the same. I'm gonna be sharing if I hope that there, if there's men on here, like just put I should have done it, but this was my leaders retreat training and I didn't have any men. So I apologize if there's any men on this call. Just put he in there. Um, so I need your participation. What would you say your biggest struggle in the business currently is? A, recruiting, B, consistency, or C, developing leaders? Drop it in the chat for me. Let's go past all of these. Okay, so sorry, I had to scroll. Okay. B, consistency, recruiting, developing leaders, recruiting. Okay, so a mixture of them all, right? And I think that we've all struggled with, all of these at one point in our business, right? Whether you're brand new or whether you've been in for years. There's times in our business that we're going to struggle in all of them, and sometimes at the same time. Um, Okay, so I did a survey with a pretty extensive survey, and I can give it to anyone who wants to do this with their leaders. But I did a survey with my leaders, and it was extensive. And I asked them a series of questions, and the things that I got from those surveys was that they had big goals. They had desire for growth. They wanted more income. They wanted more leaders. They wanted more consistency. But the biggest gap wasn't skill in those categories, right? We talk about skill, habit, belief, right? Um, it's not a skill problem, it's a habit problem, right? And I think that a lot of us can relate to that. That sometimes when we're not seeing the success, it's because of our habit, it's because of the things that we have allowed, right? And it's an identity problem. So let's dive into that. So the two categories that got brought up the most were consistency and developing leaders, right? You guys are all leaders on here and wanting probably more for your business, right? And some of you are really successful at this, and some of you might need a little bit more training and trying to figure it out, and that's okay. I still have to try and figure it out, and I'm an executive. This is for all of you. So the ones who feel stuck, even the ones who feel consistent, and the ones who know they're capable of more. So let's talk consistency. Whether you said your strength was your consistency or your weakness was your consistency, here's the truth for both. You're not inconsistent, you're selectively consistent. You may be consistent. You may be showing up to all of your parties. You consistently reach out. You consistently sell. But the question is, are you consistent in the things that grow you, right? Because in this business, consistency isn't just about doing something every day. It's about doing the right categories consistently. I hope I'm not missing anything in the chat. I can see it blowing up. Okay, if I'm missing anything, you guys let me know and you can ask questions at the end too. Um, so which are you, right? Whoops. Uh-oh. Did I that shouldn't have skipped to that. Um, okay, I hope I didn't. I think I messed up a slide. Which are you? Oh wait, no, I didn't. I just messed up my verbiage, you guys. Okay, it's about doing the right categories consistently. So, which are number one, sales. So equals income now. So our bookings, parties, follow-ups. Two, recruiting equals future growth, sharing the opportunity, asking and planting seeds. And then three, developing leaders equals multiplication, coaching, stretching people, and helping others lead. Most people are consistent in one of these. Successful people are consistent in all three. If consistency is your strength, then the question isn't, are you consistent? It's where are you avoiding consistency? Because avoiding recruiting consistently or avoiding developing leaders consistently, that's not a time problem. That's an identity problem. If consistency is your weakness, then let's flip that. You're already consistent at something. You're just being consistent in what feels comfortable. I'm going to admit that one. What if the reason your business isn't where you want it to be isn't because you don't know what to do, but because you're not yet being the version of you who would do it consistently? And that doesn't just mean consistent in bookings. It could be in any of the categories, booking, recruiting, developing others, etc. And as you noticed, I didn't put booking as a option for when I asked you what your biggest struggle is. I think that booking comes and goes, right? But recruiting, and developing and consistency are how we continue to stay in this game, right? Bookings are important, right? They're the lifeline of our business. But at the same time, if we really want that growth, we have to be doing those other things as well. So I have a little activity and it's going to look a little different from my leaders retreat. I had them pair up. So I want you, if you guys have a piece of paper, I should have said this on the thing, but like grab a piece of paper if you have it. If you're driving or whatever, that's fine. But if you can, I want to have you at the top of your paper write this question. What do I say I want in my business right now? Does that look like the bigger income, promotion, consistent bookings, recruiting, time freedom? Be honest. And if you are like driving, maybe well, don't come on mute, but someone could come on mute if you want to, if you don't have a piece of paper. What do I say I want in my business right now? Or drop it in the chat for me, you guys. Like maybe if you're willing to share. And yeah, it can be more than one for sure. But for this exercise, we got to keep it short. Bigger income. Whoa, they're flying in. Being consistent, income. Oh my gosh, they're flying in. Okay. More income, bookings and promote to SCD, recruiting because I want the trip. Okay. So now that you have that, under that, write down this. What did my last 7 days actually look like? So the top is the truth, the bottom is the pattern. What did my last 7 days actually look like? Not what you intended to do, what you actually did. How many booking asks? How many follow ups? How many recruiting conversations? How many days did you actually work your business on purpose? Do those line up? Yes, Heather, I'm I'm preaching here. I'm gonna make you think. Not even close. Okay. All right. So that's okay, you guys, because we're figuring it out, right? Like we have to figure this out. Our goals that we have to be able to achieve them. How do we achieve them? We figure out what the problem is, right? And a lot of that goes back to identity. And those are things that we don't talk enough of, right? We get on these calls, we hear about from all these great leaders who are having these success, but really you don't really understand that they had struggles too. They were behind the scenes crying sometimes and had bad days, right? So it's okay if they don't line up, but let's fix that, right? So like I said, did they match? And maybe they did. Maybe you're doing amazing and that's great, right? There's a place for all of you guys. That's why I said that. So for most people, this is where the gap is. It's not that you don't want it bad enough. It's not that you don't know what to do. It's that your daily habits don't yet match your desired identity. For those who did hit that goal or the version of you who hits that goal, she doesn't debate showing up. She doesn't rely on motivation. She doesn't try to be consistent. She just is, right? So of course, we can't pick a partner, but I want you guys to do the same thing. So drop it in the chat if you can. I want you to say one thing I noticed about my pattern. So, for example, one thing I noticed about my pattern is I avoid following up because I don't want to bother people, or I overthink what to say instead of just saying something. I'm inconsistent. I have really good days and then nothing for a few days. I'm not treating this like a real business. I don't have a set routine, so I just wing it. I stop when I get a little momentum instead of building on it. I'm doing the work, but I'm not developing my people. I avoid hard conversations with my team. I focus more on my sales than growing leaders, or I'm not actually doing as many booking asks as I thought I was. So drop it in the chat. All of the above. Okay, thank you for being honest, Betty. I overthink everything, so it takes so long to get anything done. So then I procrastinate. Yeah. I mean, I can say the same thing sometimes. I'm doing the work, but not developing my people. I'm consistent or inconsistent lately. I overthink and then I become frozen. We have to pick just one thing. Yeah, just for this call. I think these examples are extracted right from my brain. Thanks, Marta. Me too. It came from my brain, some of them, because yeah, we all are there, right? Several of them. Okay. So, if your current habits are perfectly designed to get you your current results, then to get different results, you don't need more effort. You need a different identity, right? We've got to start speaking to us nicer, right? It's taken me a long time to get over those thoughts about my dad telling me that the only thing that I would be good at is being a cheerleader. I'm more than that, right? I am more than just a cheerleader. I've obviously gotten to the top level of this business, and I can't continue to think that way. If I want to treat my body better, I look at these people and I'm like, gosh, my friends are so healthy. Like, why can't I just do that? Right. I got to start speaking that to myself. Mikaela, drink your water. Your body needs that water, right? But again, we stem from having, whether it's our caregivers, most of the time it is our caregivers. Our parents might have talked to themselves poorly, and then we thought that about ourselves, right? Wherever that stems from, we've got to stop and we have to start treating ourselves and in this business more seriously, right? If we want to get the results that we need. So stop asking, what should I do? And start asking, who do I need to become? The versions of me who already has what I want, how does she show up daily? What does she do when she doesn't feel like it? What does she no longer tolerate? And that's what I ask these top leaders, right? All the way from an advanced director to a national level. What are you doing? I want to know. The way that I got to a national level, you guys, is because I was asking those questions. I had no idea what I was doing. I did this in 11 months. Okay. So I was a brand new baby, but I wanted to learn how to become the best of the best, so I went to the best of the best and I was doing exactly what they were doing. Um, so let's become her, right? Let's stop becoming this version of ourselves that we don't want or we don't like, right? And we hear it all the time. Would someone want to party with you? Morgan Lee Smith says it all the time. Like, make your parties fun, right? So how do we do that? We change our identity. So now I want you to drop it in the chat. I am the type of person who, examples, I am, so this is the truth in the pattern. I am the type of person who follows up even when it feels awkward. I am the type of person who asks for bookings daily. I am the type of person who takes action before I feel ready. I am the type of person who does income producing activities first. I am the type of person who doesn't disappear when it's hard. I am the person who develops leaders and not just sells. I am the type of person who calls people up to their potential. And I am the type of person who leads by example, even when no one is watching. Who do you want to become? Right? Maybe all of these are fitting you already. That's great, but there's still growth. We all have growth to do. But he says, I'm the type of person who needs an identity change to become the one, oops, they're coming in fast, one that does all the things. Okay, great. Heather says, I'm the type of person who is organized and consistent. Sarah says, this is so good, eager to grow. I am the first five. Okay. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of these. All right. So now that you have this and you know what you want to be, we just have to dive deeper into it. And that's where, all of these colors come from and all of that. So notice how none of these say, I try to. Identity is not, I'll try. It's, this is just who I am now, right? And of course, there's, we're going to try and we're going to fail and all of that. But becoming someone is actually doing the action and really trying to be that person. Now let's understand how you naturally show up and become her. Your personality impacts your habits. So if you didn't get to take the color code test, like make sure you go onto the leaders page and on Facebook and take that test, because this would speak a lot more if you knew your color. I saw a lot of you already take it, and maybe you've already done this test before, but let's just go with this one. All right, so you're either red, blue, yellow, or green. Each one has strengths, has struggles, shows up differently in business. Red, they're driven and create results, right? Their strengths are take action and confident. Their struggles, impatient, can avoid relationship building, and their growth edge is slow down and connect. Okay. Red, I am the type of person who slows down long enough to build real relationships, right? So these are the things that you need to be doing. I'm the type of person who develops people, not just pushes results. I am the type of person who listens, not just leads. I am the type of person who is consistent with people, not just goals. Okay. So that growth edge is connection plus patience. Blue, relational, heart. Their strengths are caring, build strong connections, and their struggles, they avoid asking, fear of rejection. Their growth edge is ask boldly, right? Blue, I am the type of person who asks boldly without fear of judgment. I am the type of person who follows up even when it feels uncomfortable. I am the type of person who doesn't take no personally. I am the type of person who values my time and business. So that growth edge is confidence plus courage. Okay. So that's what you want to strive for. Yellow, fun, social. This is me, you guys. All right. So any of my yellows, woo, strengths, energetic, engaging, struggles, lack of focus, easily distracted. Okay, so if any of you guys were in there, I am a squirrel. I have a squirrel on my laptop because I am the biggest squirrel ever. Growth edge, discipline plus systems. We need discipline and systems to be able to grow. I am the type of person who follows through on what I start. I am the type of person who creates structure in my business. I am the type of person who does the work before the fun. I am the type of person who stays focused and finishes strong. And our growth edge, discipline plus consistency, right? We need those to thrive and to be successful. And our greens, analytical and thoughtful. Strengths are organized, smart decision makers, and our struggles are overthinking, waiting to feel ready. The growth edge is take imperfect action, right? That's hard for greens because they want to know all the answers before they try. I am the type of person who takes action before I'm ready. I am the type of person who doesn't overthink simple actions. I am the type of person who trust myself and learns by doing. I am the type of person who moves forward without needing perfection. And their growth edge is action plus trust, right? So your personality explains your tendencies, but it does not decide your results. So you still choose who you become, right? But knowing you guys doing this study for this retreat and this training has helped me to understand my leaders better and how they work, right? And we're going to talk about that in just a second. How am I doing on time? Okay, okay, whatever. You need to leave, you can leave. All right. But let's take this deeper. At some point in leadership, your success stops being about what you can produce and starts becoming about what you can reproduce. Okay. Um, so let's talk developing leaders. So the reason why this call was so long, and maybe we can do another call on the other end of this, is I walked through all of my developing leaders, like tips and stuff like that. And we can do that on another call. If you were not, I just did a spotlight training for Pampered Chef on developing leaders and my tips. So maybe go find that recording because it really does go deep into that. But we're going to still stay on track with the identity work and color stuff. You're not as strong as your strongest leader. You're as strong as what you consistently develop. This has taken me a long time to figure out, you guys. Again, became a national in 11 months, so I'm still a baby here. Top performer. So we have top performers doing amazing high sales and consistent, or we have an average team, inconsistent, struggling, quiet. Which one defines your leadership? Do you have all these strong leaders and they're doing great things, but your team is kind of falling, right? Um, or the other way around. It's really easy to look at your top person, the one who's crushing it, showing up, doing all the things, but leadership isn't measured by your strongest person. It's measured by what your average person is doing consistently. So consistency multiplies through identity. People do not duplicate pressure long term. Think about that. They duplicate identity. If your team only performs when you are pushing, that's not leadership multiplication yet, right? Because we know that motivation, it comes and it goes, right? So the goal is not to create people who need your motivation every day. The goal is to create people who know who they are even when motivation disappears. The bottleneck analogy, right? I don't know if any of you have ever heard of this, and that's going to drive me nuts that pushed down. So I want you to think of a funnel or a traffic jam. Sometimes the biggest growth limitation in an organization is the leader unintentionally becoming the center of everything. The way that I know this is because this is what happened to me, right? Again, doing this in 11 months, becoming a national 11 months, I had a lot to learn, okay? And I was doing a lot of things not the right way, and I'm still learning. If every answer has to come from you, every decision has to go through you, every fire has to be put out by you, you're not building leaders yet. You're building dependence, okay? Developing leaders requires letting go. And that is very hard. It is hard. It's so hard for me because it's so much easier to just give them the answer than to have them actually think it out, right, for themselves. And it's still a struggle. I still have to, when someone asks me a question, what would you say to this? And there's a time and a place, right? You guys like, but I still have to like stop. Okay, no, let's troubleshoot this. Like, what do you think the right answer would be? And then you can coach them and train them and help them, but let them think about that, right? So as red leaders, these are the things that we need help on, right? Red leaders need to stop controlling. Blue leaders need to stop rescuing. Yellow leaders need to stop inspiring without structure. And green leaders need to stop overthinking people's potential instead of calling it out. Okay. If you need to take a screenshot of that, definitely do it. Leadership growth starts when we stop leading people the way we would want to be led and start leading people based on who they are. Stop creating mini me's or mini yous. Your best leader may not look like you. They may not lead like you. Their strengths may actually frustrate you at first. But healthy leadership multiplies differences, not clones. So here's the ending of this, okay? Would your team still grow without you? If you went away for a while, would they still be growing? Would they still be thriving? Would they still be doing what they should be doing? Or have you created many yous, right? So a true leader is not proven by how many people follow them. A true leader is proven by how many leaders rise because of them. And that, my friends, is all I have for you guys today. So I hope and pray that there was something that you took away from this. I know it was a little different from what you probably have seen, but I truly believe that when we want success in our lives, we have to break it down and we have to understand ourselves, how we work, why we work, right? And that's a lot of therapy that, people have to go through sometimes if it's a lot of trauma, but at the same time we can start today. We can start talking to ourselves better. We can start showing up for ourselves differently. We can start looking at people who are successful and asking them the simple question, right? I just got on two calls this last week with directors and with advanced directors and senior directors and I asked specific questions like what are you doing at an executive level? I'm still asking people who are more successful than me and have been in longer, right? I want to know what you're doing to have those high sales. I want to know what it takes. What is that switch that I have to do in order to become the person that I want to be? So any questions that I missed? Anything that you want to ask me? Okay, let's scroll up here. Maybe Mel, if you can
Mikaela,
help.
that survey you were talking about, can you put that
Yeah.
in the Facebook group?
Yep. Sure can. I will drop that in there
Thank you.
today. Yes, of course. Let's see.
Lots of kudos and love, love, love. But and somebody asked if you could put the graphics in the
You bet.
group.
You bet.
And I say
Um,
if you have that that not teach me, what was it called?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
The
I'll
spotlight
drop that
training.
in there
The
too.
spotlight
Yep.
training that
I do. I
video of that
actually do
recording, that'd be
have that.
great.
Yep. You bet. Any questions at all or any thoughts? Like, did this kind of trigger you in a different way? Like, I would love to learn. I would love to know what you thought about it.
I always remember someone saying to us, if you can manage your mind, you can manage your business. So I always love the reminder of let's get our mind right, and then the business part's going to come.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. 100%. Because man, do I scroll. Man, would I much rather be watching a show or, hanging out with my kids. But I think honestly, you guys, like we got to give ourselves grace. I mean, I don't know if there's men in here, men too, but most of us are women and we wear a lot of hats, right? We do so many things throughout the day. And at the end of the day, we got to give ourselves grace and take a breath but just ask questions, ask people who are succeeding or talk to your upline. I'm struggling right now. I don't know where to go and I just need help. And in this business, I don't think that Doris Christopher like made this business so that we can gatekeep and that we can be all to ourselves. Like she wanted us to share. She wanted us to be able to help other women be successful and be moms, but also be business savvy and have the success, right? But in that, we are going to fail. We are going to fall. And so learning how we can what our habits are and what our strengths and weaknesses are going to help when we are falling, like when I'm not, doing what I should to help my body, right? Like, okay, well, I need to start drinking a little bit more water, or I need to stop, snacking at night or whatever. I'm just giving an analogy, right? Because I love snacking at night. But it's just understanding how we can curve that and start, really taking this seriously. So,
Right.
okay. Any
I
other
have a question.
comments?
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you.
So I love this. This is just absolutely amazing. I love that it was different. I, we'll just move on. I love that. So where can, like, I want more of this. Where can I get more info? Like, how do I become a better leader? Or how do I talk? How do I make people stronger? How do I make me stronger? What do you recommend? I mean, yes, talking to people is great, and I'm going to do that. I do it now a little bit. I've reached out to some people, and I got some excellent information, but I want more of that. Like, what do you suggest?
Yeah, I think that for one, a lot, all of us, when we are talking to like home office, if you ever get to talk to anyone from, whether it's Kathy Cocazello or anyone who is, upper up or whatever, we need to start telling them this is what we need. We want these types of trainings. We want to hear more of not because we don't want to be negative, right? We don't want to hear everyone's like low parts, but I think that that's something because I'm talking at conference. That's something that like I told them. Like I don't want to just say all of the wins that I have, which is great. We need to see the wins. We don't want to stay in the negatives, but at the same time, a lot of us feel alone, right? And if we're not having that success, we look at this person who we're listening to and they have all this success, but again, we're not seeing all of those downsides, right? So we need to be more real and authentic. So that's number one, right? If you do me a favor and your execs and like tell them that's what you want to see a little bit more of, right? The real, the authentic. And two, like what are you listening to, right? Like what are you putting on in the mornings? Like I listen to TED Talks, I listen to motivational speakers. I have things in my ear that I can listen to, whether it's in the business or outside of the business, right? But you're looking at it right now. You are looking at all of these women and maybe men, I don't know, I haven't scrolled, but like you're looking at people who have had the success, right? Some of the my most favorite people are the ones who have been in longer, the Marnas, the Sharons, I learned so much from them because they have a totally different mindset about relationships and how this business should be ran, right? Like I want to be back into the in homes. I want to talk to people because that's where we're going to find people. And not saying that, we're not supposed to go with the times because the times are saying that it's more virtual, it's more techy, right? But how can I bring in those relationships into that tech world so that people do want to come back to me, right? So listening to things, talking to other people who are successful. Sorry, my husband is now taking a shower, so I'm sorry. It's Pacific Standard Time right now, so it's 7:30. But yeah, I mean, I think that just asking questions, like you said, talking to other successful people, getting in WAM groups, like finding other women who want to be successful and brainstorm and talk and come up with plans to help you.
Do like
Accountability partners are great.
the last thing I want to say is I'm glad that you said that about tell our uplines and whatever our people, our field people, because they're starting that director series thing. And what Kathy, her, question was, what do you want to learn? And I put down coaching. I said coaching, personal development, and how to be a leader to support my team. So they're things that I want. Like I crave that. I want that. So
You
thank
guys,
you.
I was the
Thank you.
slowest learner ever. I still am. And I have no experience of leadership behind me. And I worked in Social Security disability as a paralegal, right? Like, and I was self-taught. Like I did not get to a national level by just riding the coattails. Like I literally had to put in the work. I had to go and figure it out and find, if you don't have the best upline, which I was so graciously I did, but at the same time, like if you don't have that, which I hear a lot of, like I don't have a upline that, helps, or maybe you are home office direct, like that doesn't define you again. Like, stop giving that as an excuse and go figure it out because there are a lot of successful people that don't have an upline, that don't have that help. It's us, right? Like, our uplines don't pay our checks like we do. Like, I mean, Pamper Chef, but we define how much money we can make. We define our success. So it's not our uplines, fault technically. I mean, yes, it is helpful when we do have great uplines and help, but there's so much help outside of just our organizations, right? So sister up, put your big girl panties on and, do it because why not? Become the person that you want to be. All right. Any other last questions, comments? Melody says, I didn't have an upline that was doing virtual, so I had to go find the help I was looking for. It's the best way to learn. Absolutely. Um, oh yes, my book Grit. That is my team name, you guys, is Grit. Man, these are some of the best books that you can have. One of the best books that I've ever read is No Excuses by Brian Tracy. One of my all-time favorite books. So go get it. Like literally, I listen to a lot of books, so that's another thing. Like go listen, go buy an Audible or whatever and put that thing on. I take my kids on walks with it, and just learn. Self-development is key. All right. Okay, guys, let's end this so that I don't get in too much trouble. And yeah, I'll drop the recording, I'll drop the stuff in the group. And if you didn't take your color code test, do it because it's kind of fun to learn and learn how to talk to your team. So, all right. Talk to you guys later. Love you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.